It was less than 48 hours ago that season 13 of CMO102 Super League kicked off, and what a week of games it was. There was some board draws, there was a hell of a lot of red cards, and there was an absolute slobber knocker between Fulchester and Casuals, two of the greats of Super League. So we crack on tonight on a beer time bonus Super League stream, and it gives us great pleasure to welcome, first of all, the man, the myth, the legend, Tato Mourinho, the only person in Super League with some actual managerial experience. I'm not sure if he's ever mentioned that to you. And joining him tonight will be his opposition, which should be amazing because they play the game in very, very different ways and have an absolute fundamental different set of principles in the Super League. So I'm sure you'll all be looking to that one. Tato, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Good. Tired from a week of centre parksing, but I'm all for this, mate, yeah.
Top man. And Greevsey, how you doing, my man? I appreciate you've been up since about 2 a.m. because of graft, and you've moved heaven and high water to be with us tonight. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, Sexy. I'm rolling.
Excellent. If everybody could just let us know that we're all good in the comments in terms of volume and in terms of the stream. The kind of 3 new chairs are still using the free version of StreamYard, and we're still just ironing a few things out. So, gents, we started on Wednesday night with game week 1. Tato, I'll come to you first. Who impressed you in game week 1?
Probably Phoenix, I would say, just because they scored 4 against a very, very good Walton team. Obviously, I played Fulchester in the cup, and they played the same formation, and I played, I think, the same as mine. And it looked like they were struggling to create chances and put them away, but a completely different story against a very, very solid backline of Walton Casuals. So, yeah, that one, probably them.
Yeah, I certainly can't think of any time when Casuals have conceded 4 in kind of recent memory. Greevsey, who for you disappointed on Wednesday night?
It's got to be Triple P.
Any reason why?
No reason. Just apart from the manager being a reprobate. Other than that, having to rely on a 12-year-old Makoku is.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bizarre one. They were missing their kind of starting first choice CMs, and those of us that have came against Cosmos know that Dimble is all about controlling that game in the middle of the pitch. So PPP do have their starting preference of midfielders out tonight in there tonight. So hoping for better. Greevesy, any games that kind of stand out for you in terms of the slate, if we want to use an Americanism?
No, I think it's still early doors at the moment, isn't it? And every game is exciting in the Super League.
Yeah, Tato, anything for you that sticks out?
Obviously, we've got Burn and Dragons, who people are predicting are going to be top 4 by the end of the season. But game week 2, it's not as important as it's probably made out to be. Bostock and East Coast, purely because you've got the consistency of Dimble and you've got the wild card and the new manager in Swanee. So to see them go against each other should be interesting.
Absolutely. And the most important question tonight, what you on there, lads? What you drinking?
I'm on a Moretti at the moment.
I'm on the port.
Standard. Greavesey's on the port, yeah?
Yeah.
Happy days. So we are going to start with what I thought would be a really, really good way to whet the appetite tonight. 2 managers who have no love lost between themselves. There's been a decent amount of patter over the last, I'd probably say 4 or 5 seasons, really. And we start with Mr. 2-time himself, Mr. 4 goals. It is Fulchester Phoenix, and they do make a slight change this week, and that is that they are able to bring Yap Stan back in, and they also elect to have Raquelme back into that CM. Greevesy, if we can go with you tonight for the home sides, what's your thoughts on this Fulchester Phoenix side?
Yeah, it's a very good side. I think Southgate is the only weak link in that first 11. It's a very good, solid tactic. I used to use it a lot in myself in previous seasons. He's got good players that go into it. Yeah, you can highlight I don't know where the 9 came from, because the past 2 games he had one play, he got sent off, didn't he? So it's old legs, big injuries, and I think he's done very good business in the transfer market, but left himself weak at the back.
Tato, for what is essentially an adapted 4-1-3-2, if you were looking under the hood of this, what do you think kind of makes this Super League worthy in terms of not just being a flat 4-1-3-2?
Obviously, you got your classic wing backs further forward there. Zanetti was an absolute steal, and I mean that in the most offensive term. Not in I mean, it's disgusting. The deal to get him
sleep at night for the terms of that deal.
I'm not going to keep going into the deals that have been done there, but that one is horrendous in every aspect. So he's a big thing. But having Nedved, Riquelme, and Nakata in there, it's just so creative, and they're not actually playing in that AMC position, so they're technically not going to get dominated by the DMCs, and they've got a bit more wiggle room to roam. So that's why they're causing a bit more carnage, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm really interested in is Ryan as a returning manager is choosing not to deploy those AMCs. Haven't had a conversation with him as to why, but I can't help but think he's kind of sat on the sideline, has seen the dominance of DMs in the Super League and has thought better against it. I think all three of those players that he's got in CM there are weaker if you push them further up the pitch. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Lovely. Okay, so we move to the opposition, who for me had one of the best transfer windows this season, and looked very, very good against Dragons on Wednesday night, and arguably should have really took all 3 points. Greevsey, in terms of Steve, and we know kind of Steve's track record of being a little bit yo-yo, but you really can't fault this 11 that he's pulled out from just about under everybody's nose. What do you think?
Yeah, he's got a very good 11. I'm not too keen on Santa Cruz playing AMC, but that could be the case of having 6 Magners before he submitted his team. He's never played AMC in any part of his career, and don't know why you'd think of playing him there. I'd rather have glass knees Guerrero playing AMC rather than Santa Cruz, because at least he's got proven track record in that position. Yes, I know we've got Mackay. Mackay's gone off injured for this game, and he sort of may have had a panic. But it can't. Surely, second game in is a bit early for a Steve Wright panic, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think it's a stay right panic. I would probably say it's a case of Santa Cruz being a player that he thinks really, really highly of. And I know he's kind of had him or tried to get him in a couple of different iterations now. The league's littered with these sorts of players, isn't there, Tato, where the rest of the league, the majority of the league wouldn't necessarily deploy them in a position, but a manager is absolutely, adamant and insistent that it works. You're definitely one of those managers in that bracket. Santa Cruz at AM, yes or no, Tato?
If he's got creativity passing long shots, I don't. There's literally no reason why not. I think he's even got a decent number for AMC. I think he's got 14 or whatever Steve keeps saying for AMC, and Dimble was a big advocate of that. I think he was on about retraining him as well, like he'd done in home saves. He's got the cojones to play there. He's similar to Henry, isn't he? People got good numbers from him from there, so why not?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a Martin in the chat who is absolutely convinced it's a misclick. I promise you it's not. And we've got Dimble having £1 on Santa Cruz first goal. Greevesy, what odds are you giving on a Santa Cruz first goal?
Now I slagged him off. It's probably I wouldn't even as bookies' favourites. I wouldn't even put money on it.
I reckon the book would be about 5-1 first goal. Tato, any predictions?
I just unplugged my mic by accident.
Sorry, yeah.
1-1.
1-1, and Greevesy?
I say Fulchester 1-0.
Excellent. All right, then. So we're going for Fulchester not to lose across the boys in the studio. We've got a lot of white early doors and then some blue in exchange. Santa Cruz involved there. Raul has a shot, but Southgate gets in the way. Nesta and a quarter, and then Santa Cruz booked in AMC. Another chance for Santa Cruz over the bar. Yep, Stam involved. Frey hitting it forward. Crespo loving it. Vieri. That's the combination that Fulchester want to see throughout the league. Fast approaching half time. Pizarro missing probably the only chance he's had. Calazzi, it looked as though had a one for the top corner there, but another save and another booking. And that gentleman brings us to half time.
Steve struggled to score for a couple of seasons now. Like last season he did and the start of this season. And he knows it as well. And I think he's not far off. He hasn't said this, but he's not far off going back to his 2 up front. Because he needs to find some goals from somewhere. His backline's solid, isn't it? But he's got to find something else going forward.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I always think when you start to see trends across maybe 2 or 3 seasons, then it's probably more fundamentally to do with how a manager sets up, or their style, really, rather than it being the players at their disposal. So there is White Rose's stats at half-time. They're riding free for yellow cards, and Van Bronckhorst was switched with Vieira, I think, pre-kick-off, so he is in that DM position now as opposed to the MC. So that'll be a little bit of a worry for Steve, but he is amongst it with 6 tackles, 4 successfully completed and 28 passes. In terms of Fulchester Phoenix, we've got Stam there coming back into the side and doing what he needs to do in terms of 100% tackle rate. Not many headers there, though, so it probably tells us that they're preventing the service from Pizarro, and Simeone and Nedved looking a little bit isolated in the midfield there. So we'll go with the home side first. Ryan, if you want to let us know if you want to make any changes there, and gents, if you can keep an eye on the comments, because you'll probably just see them slightly ahead of me in terms of what
Steve's made a change. If you want to jump to Steve.
Yeah, what Steve says.
He's already written it out. So he's put Santa Cruz off for Tony, 2 up front, Riley behind. So as I suggested, actually.
Nostra Tato there. Any arrow on
Pizarro left, Tony right. With arrow, yeah, he said with arrow.
With arrow, fantastic. Lovely, excellent. Mr. Phoenix, if you let us know what you want to do, shout out for the Aster Blaster there in the chat. Asked Ryan wants to roll. Fantastic. Okay, second half. It's always going to be a little bit of a close game, this one, I think, from 2 sides that have massive amounts of quality. Raul's in there, now Vieri with Riquelme. Vieri again, Terry gets in there, lays it off to Raul, Tony shot. Nakata, Simeone, very much more blue, and just as the 60-minute mark comes up, Vieri scores and then goes and hits the post straight away. 3 massive Vieri chances within the space of a couple of seconds. Stay right. What are you doing if you're in his position here, Greevsey?
You're getting a hot poker ready to fucking jab up John Terry's ass when he gets in at full time. You get Ronnie Johnson on.
Okay, we'll just hang on. Just while we do that, Ryan, there's yours, just so you're aware.
It's a good performance that from Phoenix again. Look at the ratings there. That's solid.
Very, very solid.
That's
very
no
solid. I totally agree.
Is brilliant.
GVB for Guerrero and swap with GVB for Guerrero and swap with Vieira. Fantastic.
And he's doing Terry for Ronnie. Johnson for Terry.
Doing Johnson for Terry, okay, mate.
And Ryan says
anything
stick.
From Ryan there? Ryan says stick. And of course, you wouldn't blame him for doing that. Look,
Ronnie for Terry, Kaladza centre back. Ronnie left DMC. Sorry. He's just put that now. So Kaladza left centre back, Johnson rather, at DMC.
Yeah, does that look good?
Yes, that's what he said, yeah.
Okay, yeah, apologies for that, stay, mate. Came through in spits and I just missed it. Fulchester Phoenix looking massively on top, but there's Pizarro, breaks the offside trap and the flag stays down, but he doesn't put it away. Corner cleared by White Rose, and there's Pizarro again. Be interesting to see how many shots he's had at full time. Vieri in an offside position, Guerrero into fray, Patrick Vieira, Zauri crosses it in. It cannot get past Fulchester United, and this is a Fulchester Phoenix side that conceded 3 against the low-scoring casuals. Got to be some concerning signs for stay here, and here come Phoenix to see it out. Dede, Tony Raul, great save, and that will take us to the first result of the night. 2 is the magic number. 2 from 2 for Mr. 2 time. And what do the rest of the league think of that, Tato?
That's an ex-Badger there winning in the match. Yeah, solid at the back, isn't it? It is my fault. It's not my fault. It's Steve's fault. Just a brilliant defensive performance there. To be honest, by the looks of it, they've kept them out. Looking at the stats there, the match ratings, it's defensive performance from Fulchester.
Dominated in the air, yeah. Looked pretty well.
And Greevsey, any comments on Steve there?
Kaladze's done well, moving back to centre half instead. Terry's helped shore it up a bit, and yeah, they just were unlucky going forward. You got a close display, and you didn't get a lot of good ratings on your side. You've got to take the positives off that. Because if you look at it as an even game, you've got a lot of 6s and 7s and 1-9, and you still manage to get close in the game. Two more players turn up on your side, you've got 3 points.
We're getting the
congratulations. Say that again.
We're getting the Vikings on now.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually, Tato. Well done, mate. Yeah, it'll be touching midnight for Jens about now. And this is how the Vikings go. Unlucky losers the last time out against a strong Northern Burns side. Got beat 2-1 with a Segal goal winner. Reverted back to his preferred formation. Interestingly, Totti kind of pushes up to AMC to partner Exeteria. Robin stays on ML, which is where I think most of the league have been asking him to play for a long, long time now. And Justin Walker comes into the MC. Greevsey, this is an away side, so what do you think?
I like the formation. I like the players. It's a very good squad. But my OCD is ticking off because, your left-footed players on the right-hand side. It was making me twitch.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. Jens, if you can just confirm
I know some people like yourself. You used to like playing left-footed players on the right-hand side. I can't do it.
Yeah. Anything standing out for you here, Tato, with this Viking side?
That's probably his best team when I'm setting up my test saves or whatever you want to call them. Let's not mention them. But I would put that team out as well. That's probably his best team. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Jens, if you could just confirm you're happy with that, mate. Apologies for that, just while we go through PPP. And interestingly, PPP have ditched the 3 up top, which looks, as the weeks go on, like it's a more and more flash in the pan kind of Rob Sloth moment of greatness rather than actually something that works in Super League. Tato, would you agree?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, just because it leaves you a bit more vulnerable elsewhere. I love that Sloth side, but it looks like it's too easily beatable these days. This is the only formation I think that's won the Super League 3 times. The rest of them are all one-hit wonders, so more arrows here, though.
Can I state that isn't he playing the exact front 3 that Ian failed with on multiple occasions before he moved into something more sensible and won it? Smith,
it's an interesting point. I think they were all at Haggis at one point, weren't they?
And playing in that system with Shevchenko and Sahar playing out of position at AMC.
Key thing here is obviously that partnership of Emerson and Ambrosini in at MC together with Petit trying to join them. Kandaya there at left wing back and also Salih Hamadic should be enough to supply Smith. So we go into game 2, lads. Any predictions from you, Tato?
2-1 Vikings.
2-1 Vikings. And Greevesy?
4-0 Vikings.
Bear in mind, there's a fair bit of pressure on this if one of the teams wins and the other doesn't, because it would see them as 0 from 6 or 0 from 2, however you want to describe it. Looks as though it's very Vikings heavy in that early doors. Be interesting to see if Emerson and Ambrosini can control the game ahead of Walker. Walker going down in the text there. Desai to Salih Hamadic getting past them, and then Exeteria has a shot. Driven low by Impenza. This is very Vikings heavy, and there is a substitution, a decision to be made early on without the centre-half on the bench. So you would think that it's probably a midfield switch of some sort. Potentially someone like Petit dropping in with Wellens coming on and Ambrosini maybe going one back.
Yeah, Petit can play centre-half.
I think he played for you there a couple of times, Greevesy.
Yeah, he is actually a DMC DM on the game, so I'd bring him back, Ambrosini back, and Wellens in the centre.
Things get a little bit from bad to worse for PPP now.
Yeah, that's what
they're not blessed. Not blessed with quality at the back, really. It's not how he's. There we go, fantastic, excellent. Jens obviously doesn't get the opportunity to make a change in response because it's an injury and not a red. But again, more Vikings text as Impenza goes wide of the post. And there's Kandaya offside with probably the only foray forward that PPP have had. Free kick the Vikings. PPP withhold the pressure. Can PPP hang on until half time? And they do. And that is pretty damning of the PPP 45. Vikings well on top. And Jens has got to be thinking that it's a massive disappointment. He hasn't went in at half time 1-0 up. I'll bring Vikings up first. You can see Klompé there at the back. 100% successful tackles, very, very dominant at the back and also in that midfield area as well. Justin Walker, not really running the show as much as we'd like, probably because he's a little bit outnumbered. But Jens, if you let us know what you want to do there, mate. And then PPP at half time. Say that again, Greevsey?
Desai swinging his dick about if you look at the stats.
Yeah. You know, I'll be totally honest with you. Until I started really watching the Super League, massively didn't rate Desai, and then time and time again he's done a massive job for the teams that he's played with.
He's a beast. He's an old beast. You wheel him out and play him till his legs fall off.
And I think kind of one of the lessons that I've learned is age doesn't really matter in Super League. So last iteration I got rid of Cafu far too early because of his age, and he went and ripped it up for Bostock. So I think you just keep playing them if the stats tell you that they're good enough.
With the older players, as soon as you drop them, the speed drops. So if they're not if they're not getting regular game time, they don't have the pace. The pace stops.
Right.
The pace stats drop rapidly if they're not playing games. So if you've got an old player like when you get Vieri like when he's 36 on a free transfer, he will keep playing well until you stop playing him.
Interesting. That brings us to 60 minutes with a massive save from Costanzo, probably the first time he's been challenged in the game so far. Jens, if you just let us know what you want to do. Rob's got in there with these subs early. Shevchenko up top on his own. Smith, AMC left. Brozek, AMC right. Yeah? Are you meaning wingers? Are you meaning wingers there, Rob?
No.
Like AML, AMR?
Be like that. Get Delvecchi on.
Let us know what you mean there, Rob. If you can just clarify that for us.
He says fine. Big changes here from Vikings.
And then Jens, if you can just let us know what you would like to do there, mate.
Duff for Carew,
yeah. Go on, Tato.
Duff for Carew, Echeverria. Two up top, Totti in behind with an arrow.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And
the big lads up front.
Cheers, fellas, for a swift response. Wellens with a little bit of the ball there coming on there, but here's Echeverria down the wing, and Penza looks to just put it wide. I think we're going to slow it down here, lads. For the last kind of 15-10 minutes or so, free kick taken by Totti, Fabio Cannavaro, and that's why you pay the big bucks to have the big names in the team. Coming up trumps there, and let's just up that to fast because medium's a little bit slow, isn't it? Vikings now. Do we think they're seeing this out?
Yeah, they've got the Haggis formation Vikings now, haven't they? This is Haggis this year's formation, I think. It's solid. It's a good one.
Oh, Emerson with an absolutely massive strike out of nowhere. Seemed to take on half the Vikings team, and Emerson is... surely should have scored there. Surely should have scored. PPP, have they snatched a draw from the jaws of defeat? Candela caught offside. Jens would have been sweating there. 90 minutes, 91, 92. Petit, Candaya, Emerson, Shevchenko skips past him. Shevchenko gets him, and it's a free kick. He's going to have a shot, and Ado gets it and clears. PPP, certainly in the last 10 minutes, got a new lease of life. I'm not sure. I'm not sure this is going to be sticking around for the rest of the stream with a result like that, to be honest, lads. Really, Vikings should have been at least one up at half time. But scoreline aside, Vikings looked very, very solid, Tato.
Yeah, that's that going when they moved to a two up front. I think is possibly a way to go with them there because Penza started playing there. Carew's obviously a danger. I think that's helped them massively in there. Can also I think it's nice to see a bit of a resurgence of the two up front. Obviously with the Haggis victory, whenever they won it, I can't remember when they won the league, but they had two up front. Obviously Fulchester are playing it, Vikings doing it there. People switching to it. Steve won it with two up front as well. It's interesting. And can we stop calling Candela, please? Because he's not Spanish. It's really annoying. It's just Candela. Thank you.
Can I just add that Vikings were very strong with the former winning Loco centre-half partnership?
Greevsey, honestly, genuinely, mate, I think 2 seasons is about as much anyone should talk about a previous star, and then I think it's irrelevant given how far the league moves ahead. But I appreciate that, mate. I appreciate that. You've got to live on former glory somehow, haven't you? Greavesy,
they only partnered each other for one season and they won it. So
PPP with a wonder strike from Emerson.
Is it written in the stars?
Maybe. PPP with a wonder strike from Emerson, who I know Rob has been a little bit hassled for this week in terms of late deals. Partly from Dragons, partly from some other sides. Anything stands out for you there, Greevesy, in terms of PPP, or do you think they just got away with one there?
They managed to stay resilient. Molina played well. Surprisingly, he got an 8 considering he made 7 saves. And yeah, they managed to scrape a draw.
Yeah.
Do we think? I mean, Jens is constantly asking for a redraft. Obviously, it's all funny and that, but he's now got one of the best 11s in the whole league. So I'm not being funny, but why? You need to be doing better, Jens. Stop asking for a redraft and be better.
With the way he managed to negotiate it, he managed to trade Argel for Robin.
Mm-hmm. His transfer business is brilliant and his team is superb. So rather than redraft crying, Jens, do better on the pitch, mate.
I don't think you're going to get it out of them. But what I think is that just as with Greaves's pantomime, Mourinho fallacy, just as with kind of Tato's Tinkerman, I think there's 2 things for me that are a definitive part of Jens's Super League identity. And one is just the standard fuck off that he got his granny to post the other week on Twitter, which I thought was absolutely fucking superb. And then the second of which is the calls for a redraft, which, 5 seasons ago, who'd have thought that there'd be someone more vocal about a redraft than me? But there we are. 5 seasons is only 2 weeks in Super League these days. Which brings us to our next game, which is Bostock Stanley, or Bostock Swanley, as they're now called by their fans, versus East Coast Cosmos. Tato, it's a home team, first of all. Anything sticking out for Swan or for this Stanley-Swanley side?
I've realised that he's actually got an awful lot of options throughout the squad. He's got a lot of quality, so he's got rid of, Collins has gone out, people like him or not, that's fine, but you can bring in Jackson, Tom Madeira, some people love. I don't know why Scally's got an arrow on him at MC. I know he's relatively creative in the passing ways, but I don't know why he's got an arrow on him, but his team's very good. I like it. I like a lot of the players, yeah. Yeah, I like it.
And I think probably Bostock Swanley are kind of unofficially everybody's second team this season, I think, given how highly we all think of Swan and how less of a dick he is compared to most of us.
Until that video he released.
Yeah, but
slagging everyone off.
Yeah, you could even tell he wasn't committed to it. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I don't know if you've seen, he was doing like a little camera, like a little look to the right as if to say, like, I feel really uncomfortable about slagging people off here because I'm such a genuine nice lad. So he actually
like first move towards the dark side.
Yeah, it sucks you in, it spits you out, doesn't it? Greevesy, as a we were talking about kind of former legacies and former teams, but as a former manager who built a reputation on being, consistent, on being stable, on being defensively sound, and on grinding out results, this Cosmos side should remind you a lot of Loco.
Yeah, he is. Dimble knows what Dimble's going to do, and literally, you've got to try and break it down now, haven't you? He keeps that solid back, and it's beautiful to see. Ghost
game, first one of the night, lads. First one of the night. So we're going to just move on very, very swiftly to Gazelles v Casuals. A Gazelle side who, again, on Wednesday night looked to be solid, very, very solid. Tato, I can see you coming back into the room, and this is a home side, so I'm hoping you'll put your headphones in just a second. But I certainly kind of praise Dan enough for the job he's done at Gazelles and how solid he's made them. Tato, we do have a little bit of a ghost game, so over to you for Gazelles analysis, please.
Yeah, I think it was widely documented, my opinion of the Gazelle squad last season, and I equally praised him for doing so well with the side. Nicky Franco, love it. He's completely hit or miss because I've seen him again. Test save, sorry Campbell. I put it on the group. He scored 11 in a season, finished third top goal scorer, and then in my second version of the save, he scored 2. It was absolutely horrific. So it's interesting to see what happens with him. But no, I'm growing to like these players that he's got in the team.
And there's certainly some players that he does have that are building a little bit of a Super League reputation purely on the back of what Dan has done, and I think that's the biggest compliment I can pay him. Over to, in some people's opinion, the greatest ever champ Super League 1-2 player. Hodgie's casuals role absolutely as is, with no fitness or selection issues. Greevsey, any thoughts on casuals?
It's a very good team, really. The Donati's looking the best he has. If you look at his stats, he's the best he's been since Hodgie had him before the last iteration, and he was very good for Hodgie in that time. Veron is Veron, and he's got 2 very good DMs now. With Taram,
it's formidable.
In the back, it's just he could be a sleeper team if it gets a cracking. And Clover does play very well on his own, so I'm fully expecting casuals to be high up there.
Yeah, I think it's no secret that kind of Hodgie would love to win it and then kind of, you know, have his time. I think the only person stopping Hodgie from doing that is Hodgie. I think, listen, we all need to be worried if he actually takes it half seriously this year with the squad that he's got, because I think they can definitely be top 2, top 3. It's an unbelievable 11 as we get underway, and Gazelle's dealing with a little bit of pressure, but coming back, and there's a shot early doors with a big save. Yellow card there for a casuals player, and there's Rivaldo just putting it wide. Arca again with another chance. It looks as though Gazelle's are maybe not having as much of the ball, but are actually doing the more interesting work. And just as I say that, Konstantin Galka, who has been a really unsung hero for this Gazelle side, does get sent off. So Dan, if you do want to make any kind of changes to shape, I'm assuming that there's maybe a Mendieta drop in here with the 2 MCs and potentially lose the arrows, Tato?
I'd be putting Mendieta back with and giving Mendieta an arrow upwards a little bit, if I'm honest, and leave the rest of it as it is.
Can we just check you were happy with the pronunciation he gave for the last name?
Which name was that?
The Galka.
I don't know. Rodeo Bibbins is the one for that. I'm not too good at me Romanian.
I don't want you getting upset between Romanian, Spanish, and French. We don't.
I'll tell you what. With this team, while he's making his decision up, I was surprised that he got rid of Pizarro. I know he got a relatively even deal overall. I get that, but if you've got a goal scorer in this league, one that is guaranteed in this, like in the iteration that we're in, like Pizarro, I was amazed he got rid of him.
He only got 10, didn't he?
Well, 10's pretty good, isn't it? He finished 4th or 5th in the goal scorers, I think.
I see Hodgie in the chat, which means that I'm just going to give him 10 seconds and then I'm going to crack on, because that was a long time we waited for Dan's red card change, and we're nearly at half time anyway. So let's see if casuals can make the extra man count. And there is a yellow card for Shivu as well. But I think, Greevesy, that felt like a half dominated by Gazelles.
It's Dan's, that midfield is formidable, as I found out last week. Very good at controlling games. Not a lot of passes,
about that, Greevesy, actually. I wanted to ask you about that, because I thought exactly the same, that Gazelles controlled that game much better than you did. But actually on paper, their players were a hell of a lot more lightweight than yours. You had Davids, you had Gattuso, you had Tomazzi, but actually you just couldn't kind of wrestle any control of the ball. Why do you think that was?
Literally, if you look at them, they're all high rating players with good passing and good positioning. So although they're not the best in the tackling department, they'll all keep the ball together. Because Seedorf, Mendieta and Rivaldo, they're not the biggest names, even with Rui Costa coming in there as well. It's you trust them to keep hold of the ball rather than, and depending on the instructions he's got, if they're not all trying to ping it forward every 10 minutes, they can just play the game.
Dan does make a change, and it's Nicky Ferrento for Rui Costa dropping into MC with a little bit of an arrow, and there is Patrick Kluivert. He doesn't need many opportunities, and he does take the only one that looks to have come his way so far. Another yellow card, and we are at 60. Here is Gazelles coming forward. Mendieta on the volley and just puts it wide. Casuals with something to hold on to and something to defend now would get them off the mark, would see them on 3 points. What do you do if you're Hodgie here, Tato?
I'll be taking Donati with his 9 passing off, and I'll be putting Van der Vaart on for 1. I might even be playing Veron higher up or give him an arrow or something, just in this game only because he's not playing very well. So I'd do that, but Hodge will probably leave it because he's killing it. So
yeah, I'm really interested to see how long Donati gets in this MC. I think Veron as AM and Hersey as AM with Van der Vaart in there controlling it is maybe a better option, but Hodgie is probably better at this game than me. Let's absolutely be honest.
I don't really like Veron at AMC personally, but when he's got Van der Vaart behind him and stuff, it just seems to look good.
Yeah, Dan now is putting arrows on Rivaldo and Seedorf. I know this doesn't happen very often, this kind of shortened arrow, but I love it when there's 3 and there's 1 short and 2 long. It's brilliant.
Stumpy one.
You love the stumpy arrow.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? And here we go with the last half an hour. 15 minutes jumps by there. Zambrotta going forward, Barthez with a save. We've seen that for so long now. Van der Vaart involved in it. Gazelles, wow. Didn't even get a chance to slow that down. There was very, very little actual text there
for the whole game, actually.
75 and 90 minutes. And that is probably testament to how much the casuals have controlled that. And look, last season, Hodgie started off with very much a spate of 1-0 wins or 1-0 draws or 0-0s and looked massively solid at the back. There is something in this 2 blocks of 2 with this casual side that make them really, really hard to break down. Jean-Luc Zambrotta, Greevsey, I'm going to come to you here because he's a man that you really highly rate and was massive for you for local. Anything that sticks out there?
Literally, Zambrotta is one of those players, when he's playing really well, he looks incredible. And then he'll just go off and you're like, what? The games that you really want him to turn up in, and he has turned up today. But unfortunately, I think he's a very good player, but when you really want him to count, he doesn't turn up. But he's just one of them. In a regular season game, he's going to just be there for that little cross, especially with a player like Cliver up top. He'll just head him in for fun. So he's got the perfect mix there of he's got Wideman who, if within doubt, you want to see Roberto and someone and knock the ball into the box, and he's got someone there. He's only had 2 shots. Cliver's took 1. That's all you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think Dan's played the best part of an hour nearly with kind of 10 men. He's came away as a 1-0 defeat, probably being the better side. So it probably is a case of kind of lick your wounds and crack on there, Dan, unfortunately, mate. So we go to a really interesting fixture for me because this is Rocks and Campbell, who we know at least one of them, knows the database really, really well. And Campbell is obviously, probably one of the best Super League winners ever in terms of only losing 2. As much as you might not want to admit it, that is the case. And we've got Savage on the other side, who is a newbie to the Super League. He's doing things his own way. Confesses that he doesn't know the database particularly well. Tato, any thoughts on this Haggis side this season?
It's slowly being infiltrated and taken over by Rocks. I'd say 4 of these are Rocks players that Ian will have never seen before or heard of, or from some backyard league or whatever he described it as. He has never played with Juan Gomez on this game, for example. That is 100% whether he plays for Atletico Madrid or not. And because it's slowly becoming a Rocks sort of quality team, then yes, good team, but there's a one large player missing this week, which means I think they'll struggle to create too much. How long is he out for? Hopefully months.
I think in the interest of fairness, I think in the interest of fairness, it's never been done before on stream, and I certainly don't want to open up a can of worms and get pelters. So I'm going to decline the open goal to show you Giggs' injury status and decide whether Campbell wants to show that or not. Now, for me, this is the side that I'm rooting for outside of Dragons this season. Love the fact that Savage came in. Balls to come on. I didn't get the better end. Come on, you got Roy Keane off me. However, I think he's came in, he's put his balls to the wall, and he said, "This is how I play the game. Like it or lump it. I'm not asked about yous." And this is the Asta 11. Greevsey, what's your thoughts?
I do, as I said towards the end of last season, Savage maybe do a few test saves because it made me rethink the way I play the game. And I do quite like that it is certain style and the refusal of arrows. It can work. I do think a lot of moves in the transfer market have hampered him rather than helped him. I do like his system and his ideas, but I do feel that some of the players are a bit lackluster for what they want them to do.
Predictions, please, gentlemen.
Astor 5-0.
2-0 Haggis.
2-0 Haggis. Haggis dominating the early possession, but Astor look to be doing the most important stuff. But there's Figo hitting the post, and Donny there on the left-hand side infilling for Giggs with a yellow card for Van Bommel as an obstruction, and Van Bommel has a chance. Bridges has a chance with Westerveld, who was one of the picks of the keepers last season, regardless of how good or bad you think he was relative to others. Bridges again getting amongst it. Looks to be second chance, and there is a booking for Mendes. Bridges again with an excellent save from Westerveld. Figo, Juan Gomez, Roy Keane with a yellow card. In other news, water is wet. There is Ferdinand Rossini, and there is a sending off for Sebastian Mendes, who again is going to just add to that minor shortage of starting 11 with Giggs still on a red injury, although we don't know how long for. So if you can just let us know what you want to do there, Haggis and Savage. You do, with a red card, just in case you didn't know it, you do have the opportunity to make a change in response. So if you let us know if you want to change anything up as well.
It's got to be Tristan for lie there, isn't it? Saba with a little diagonal arrow. It's got to be. Oh, there we go. Yeah, pretty much.
Tristan's an interesting one for me because he is an absolute home save bully, I think, and his stats are.
He's done that. He's done that move, Tristan.
But he just doesn't seem to kind of get it done. I'm guessing centralising Rossini. Campbell, if you can just clarify whether you want an arrow on Sava, please. Rock's there crying for one at the back. Desperate.
Rox loves a 1 and a 3. One
yeah, he does. And you know what? You know, I think there's no secret that Rox is kind of front of the queue for the next job that comes up in Super League. And I genuinely hope that if that does happen, you know, he comes in and he plays one at the back, because I think the league needs it, and absolute respect to him for kind of playing the game that he really plays it. Locatelli hits the crossbar in half time, and Astor Athletic have been the better side, Greevsey.
Yeah, it's, I say, you can't ever write off Mr. Savage. You might think some of his players are a bit suspect, but his tactical layout is sound.
Yeah, and I think I joked a few weeks back and said I want a T-shirt with forward runs over arrows, but he's doing it. He's stuck to his guns. He's making it work. Sander Westerveld again there with another stellar performance for the mighty Haggis. And Juan Gomez, everyone will be interested. There's been a lot of talk about him. Fairly average first half. Michielini as well, fairly average.
I was led to believe he was the fucking second coming.
Well, I think, listen, it's a long season yet. And I think there'll be peaks and troughs. He was great in every home test that I did. And Campbell is the first to make a move with Camps for Sava. Tato, Camps, Sava, are either of them good enough to play AM in the Super League and get numbers out of, given what we know about how bad and poor AMs are and how much they underperform?
If you're saying that all AMs are bad and poor, then yeah, they're definitely good enough, because most AMs are bad and poor, so they fit in very, very nicely. They've got goal. They've certainly got goals in them in the performance here and there. So yeah, they'll do a job.
Again, Astor, and there is Dennis Bergkamp on his debut, who puts Astor Athletic 1-0 up. We jumped from 56 to 66, so apologies that I'm slightly delayed on that substitution. And we will go with the away side in the Haggis Hunters first of all. Gomez has turned up there and is doing something in the middle of that pitch. Conditions all look absolutely fine. Greevesy, I know you're pretty set in terms of not changing too much when you're changing the game, but what would you be doing if you were Campbell here?
I don't think there is much you can do. You've made you two, other than Rossini's doing okay. You wouldn't really want. Do you bring Shearer on for a hope of fresh legs? But other than that, I don't really think there's any much. Gomez and Michelino are DMs. I wouldn't want them higher up. If you
Tato, can you just read that for me, please, mate? I've seen it come through.
Swap Figo for Camps. Move Live to DMLC. Arrows on all the DMs. That's a sensible idea. Like that's a Rocks. I mean, I don't know if Rocks has sent him a little. He's gone one at the back. So
right, okay.
I don't know if Rocks has
and then arrows on what?
That's all the
arrows on what?
All DMs. Sorry, I was reading it. All DMs. DMCs, yeah.
Okay.
All of them. That's Rocks, that is, and that's a good idea. I'll be doing the same.
Savage, if you let us know what you want to do there, mate, I'll just show you condition in a sec. All looks good. You'd be loath to change anything at this point. No. Maybe the Roy Keane yellow card.
Campbell said no arrow on the middle, even though he said no all the DMCs, no arrow on the middle.
Okay. That's fine. Savage, if you just let us know what you want to do there, mate. And we'll crack on. Good little game, this, I think. I think we'll know a lot more about these two sides by the time the 90-minute mark comes. Again, probably, if Asta hang on to this, doubles down on that narrative of Haggis being a little bit of a different beast when Ryan Giggs isn't in the 11.
10 men as well, to be fair.
Yeah, that's an absolutely fair point. Yeah, I've totally forgot about the red card. Savage, if you just let us know what you want to do there, bud.
It's a good formation, this one, the 2-1-4-2-1. Anything 2-1-4 for me is very strong. I like it a lot. It's something I'll probably have a go at this season as well.
The flat
like you say,
four
controls that midfield, doesn't it?
Yeah, that flat four really made a comeback mid last season. I don't know if you remember it. A lot of teams went to 4 across the middle, and I thought, right, okay, this kind of 2-1-4 and then something above it is really going to stick. But it's kind of died a little bit. He's leaving it. Okay, here we go then. We will slow it down for the last 10 because it is a really good little game. This West, chested down by Bridges, fouled by Rio Ferdinand, indirect free kick for Asta. Edmundo, Locatelli, Bergkamp to Bridges. Both of them have been massively in this game. Westerveld, Keane intercepts. Perez, who played brilliant last game, and that is off the crossbar for Asta. There only looks to be one side in this game at the minute, and that is the gold and blue. Locatelli, who looks to have had a good game. Bergkamp swifts it in. Edmundo scores with a big tackle. Brown, West, Van Bommel, Bridges, Michelinie doing exactly what he needs to do. Is this a counter-attack? Rossini can't beat Giannichetta. West again, who looks to have controlled things from the back. Edmundo's offside, and surely that is enough. Bridges holds it up. Keane with a low pass. Edmundo, Donny, Figo, one last chance. Tactical foul from West. And that is a massive result for Savage's Asta Athletic. And to be fair to Haggis, the tactical changes from that red card onward definitely brought them back into the game. Any takeaways for you there, Greevsey?
Yeah, I never like to look at the shot. I only really like to look at the shots on target, not because your right back could be having a shot and they class it. So do you say, oh, Haggis have had a lot of shots, but they're only one? I like to class the ones on target, not the fucking all of them.
you can see who's having shots,
In terms of Rossini, in terms of Shearer, in terms of Tristan, there can be a case made for each of them. But is there any one of those three that massively stands out for you?
Well, he's got 84 in his reserves as well, ain't he?
Not on their own. Not on their own, Doug. On my 2 test runs that I've done through, I put Haggis on a 2-3-2-1-2 up front, and they've won the league both times. So, I think all 3 of their forwards need to go 2, personally. Any of the 3.
Bridges was massively involved in the text. The same with Robert Perez. That's the second game where Perez has been probably, dominant in the text. Who'd have thought that we'd be getting a tune out of him, lads? But just highlight there, Giuliano Giannichetta, who has been for so long the laughing stock of the league, going back to when Woodard was pressurised by Alf to sign him, and then Alf brought him back in again. He's really done his job there in the midfield, and that is a cracking win for Asta Athletic. Right then, the one that I really don't want to hit play on, which is Northern Burn v Dragons. We're going to start with the Dragons first, and in an attempt to be impartial, I'm going to try and say very little, but purely because I don't want to put the mockers on anybody. Greevesy, I'll come to you first. This Dragons side, any thoughts?
Yeah, very solid. You've got your stolen man in the DMC role, which is very good. Bit surprised you went for Foe in the centre, and I don't like Bowyer on that left-hand side, as you know. I'm surprised you didn't give. Although Foe played well in the last game, I suppose Kushny didn't get a run in centre. And
I'll be totally honest with you. What I was pushing for it to be Kushny. We thought long and hard about switching to a 2-4-1-1-2, given how much we rate this Burnside. But in the end, this is a formation that's only lost 2 games in 20 games. So we rolled as is, really. For me, the fella that has done the best business, Tato, just before I come to your opinion, can you just confirm that you've checked man marking the keeper, Wibwob, and you've also checked any free roll, like toying with Burns formation?
Yeah, I've checked it. There's loads of it on now.
And what do you think? What do you think about this Northern Burnside?
Yeah, I like it. I don't know why, but obviously he's got the greatest centre midfielder to come into this team, and I'm assuming Jeremy's drops back to DMC because he's got the best DMC in the league, and he's pushed him to MC. And like I say, I know Ferguson's been out injured, but I don't really get why you would sacrifice the best DMC just to shoehorn in Zay Elias, but he knows what he's doing and I do not. So
I mean, any team with Barry Ferguson not even making the bench is surely one that has an embarrassment of riches. I wonder if maybe there was a deal kind of done with expectations that one would perhaps move on further down the line, but he didn't quite get it over the line. But we all know that this game is all about the engine room of MC and DM. And he's got an embarrassment of riches there. I'll be honest with you, lads, there was a shitload of cards in this when I was testing. Obviously not against Edwards' submitted tactic, by the way, let's just make that clear. Shitload of cards. I had Foy sent off, Ndai sent off, Montero, Ayala was sent off.
Did you want to tell him about the testing with our game?
I will do.
Yeah, we'll come to that in a sec. Tato, your prediction first of all, please, mate.
2-0 Burn.
2-0 Burn. Greevsey?
1-0 Burn.
1-0 Burn. Home wins from both. And it's Dragons who have an effort with Cafu early doors, and there's Archie back just putting it over the bar. Looks as though Dragons have got most of the ball, but Burn are always dangerous. They don't need many opportunities. Handball from Lizarazu, header from Segalko, Ayala to contra, and there is David Beckham. Oh, but Kulo's offside in that AM position, just striding a little bit too far. Burn have definitely come back into this. Cafu offside, and Boya, there's the first booking of the game, which was a lot later than it was in testing, I must say. Lizarazu header from Constantinu, but it goes wide. Segalko missing as well. Cole, Nesta with a big tackle. Crosses, and there is Maxim Segalko. Water is wet, and there is a yellow card for Archie back. Could have quite easily been a red. Dragons holding on a little bit to get to half-time, and there is another yellow card for Dragons, and Ehio gets in the way. And that is a Northern Burn performance in the first half. That, for the first 15 minutes, looked very, very, very good. Greevsey, your thoughts on Northern Burn?
I think that Z Elias took Tato's comments personally, and he's gone about to try and destroy and distribute to prove a point.
Tato, any thoughts?
Yeah, and pre-game when I was talking about Jeremy's, I'm well aware that he will play well at MC. That wasn't my point before. I'm not, that's obviously not what I was saying. But he knows what he's doing. Beckham there nearly bagged again, didn't he? I felt like Burn battered you then. It felt like they battered you. They were relentless, weren't they?
Absolutely. I think it was 15 minutes where Constantino and back missed one, and other than that, we did very, very little. Ian Edwards going as is in a shocker. We are going to try and go for it because, let's be honest, you're not going to get back into the game against Burn without doing much, are you? So we bring on Felipe Maniero at half time, and we go till 60 and see what happens. Free kick, Ronaldinho, Beckham, and Ronaldinho again, Cafu, Z Elias, Beckham. Z Elias is having the game of his life against the side that he once played for. And then we come to 60 minutes. Did that count? Let's just have a little look. Who was that? Segalko with the double. And we'll go to Northern Burn first of all.
He's only on a 7. That'll go up to a 9 after the...
Who was that? Sorry, the goal. Yeah. Yeah, listen, like in absolutely no disrespect to Edwards, because he's done unbelievable with this side across 2 seasons, but I think we genuinely got to be asking ourselves the question next iteration on whether Maxim should be in the league. And I say that with no disrespect to him, because Dragons have had Sigalko, but I think we've genuinely got to be asking whether in the next build, whenever that comes, whether he should be in the league.
There's only one player. There's only one manager that's got 2 out of him. In fairness, in all the iterations.
Yeah, but do you know why I think? Do you know why I think that is, Greevsey? And obviously it's a difference of opinions and stuff. I think I've said this before, but I think the thing for me is there's as each save of Super League is being built, there's been a greater amount of detail in the background, in terms of facilities, in terms of training, in terms of quality of the coaches, all that sort of stuff. Oh, that's massive. That's massive. It goes from bad to worse for Dragons, and they bring on and I think that has meant almost that Sigalko has been on steroids. Kind of, each save's got gradually better in terms of the background work, and therefore that like potential ability relative to current ability has just went on absolute glue. And this is the best save that we've ever had in terms of those background factors. So I think that's why he's smashing. I mean, he's going to get nearly 2 goals a game now, and there is 3-0 for Burn. And lo and behold, just like the testing that I've tried to do extensively, it is an absolute dominant Burn win, and this definitely puts Burn up there in terms of title favourites, and probably just ponders a little few questions. Now you fucking
not the Dragons.
A few questions about this Dragons 11 that have been fairly easily dominated. Don't score a second now. Don't take the piss. And there is full time. It is Northern Burn 3, Dragons 1. What more can you say about this Northern Burn side, Tato?
Nothing. They were brilliant last season. They made it better because people are giving players away for free, and world-class players at that as well. And he's, like you say, he's going to score 1 or 2 every single game now. I don't really think there's any
7 headers. 7 headers won by a striker.
Literally can't do anything.
I mean, he's on 3 goals from 2 now. What can we do? For Dragons, the Ndiaye injury, 37. If anybody reads anything into that, that's not ideal for us. Nothing to write home about really, and that is probably one where, for me, pre-season we've played 2 of what I thought would be the top 6 in Rose and Burn, and we just take it and roll. Well done, Edwards, mate. You look absolutely in control.
Am I right in thinking that 37 fitness for injury is the cruciate ligament for 18 months?
Say that again.
If they have 37 injury, that's when. If they have 37 fitness, that's the cruciate ligament injury for 18 months.
Do you know what, Greevsey? If that is the case, mate, there's me excuse for going 0 for 10 again. We come to the Hollywood clash of the evening, the clash of styles, the unstoppable asymmetric versus the immovable object. And let's flip this a little bit. Tato, your opposition tonight is built a reputation on trying to be the kind of defensive mastermind. What do you think about his lineup? Who's going to cause you problems in there, and where do you think the game's won and lost?
I think Del Piero causes a few problems in there. His back 5 is really, really solid and has a hell of a lot of tackles in it. So it's getting through that, isn't it? The absolute meat shield that he's done there. This is a good formation, the Timmy, as it's affectionately known by some. So yeah, I like this formation. It suits Greevsey as well.
Greevsey, let's flip it on you. We have Badgers, who I think look better. I think this is the best side that Tato has ever had, whether it's Astar or whatever. And I think it's also, and I love him a bit, so you'll not mind us saying this, I think it's the most sensible side that Tato has ever had. Greevsey, what are you thinking about this Badgers side? Where's the game won and lost for them here? Although I say that and he's got a backward diagonal Zaro and fucking Vlahovic here. Greevsey, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm surprised he went for Vlahovic instead of Viduka up front. I'm a big fan of Fermani, as Tato knows by past iterations. Nicky Butt tackles for days, and Pablo Aymar is my favourite player on the entire game. So, yeah, he's got a very good team, and it's the egg box set up with the Mega Horse backwards arrow. So we all know how effective that was.
Before we start, Duggan, I'll inform the listeners that I ran this exact game with the two formations and the exact two teams 25 times. For those that enjoyed my testing, I won 9 of them. He won 7. And there were 9 red cards, 4 of them for Walter Samuel. So I'm anticipating. And 4 of the games that I lost were when Samuel got sent off. So let's see how Walter does. I think he's in charge of the game.
Hence my prediction that I would win 2-0 with a Samuel red card.
Would I say in the streams went on past last orders? What he doesn't realise is we only went live at 10. And lads, this is going to be a Super League record. We've got all the content in, all the analysis, and we're just over an hour. So stick that up your arse, sort the digs out for the stag, stop being a fanny, get a haircut, and crack on. Tato, if Badgers win this, what happens?
We're winning the lot.
No, I meant is in the match. What do we see if Badgers win?
Sorry. 1-0 win.
Greevsey, if Celtics win this, what do we see?
A Samuel red card.
Samuel red card, that's fair enough. Vlahovic involved in there straight away. There is, I'm not even going to try to butcher that. Is it Marino Corca? What is that? Marcelino Corca. Tamati to Lucio. Danielson straight in there with a big save from Casillas. There is Samuel, but involved at the other end of the pitch. Tamati, Lucio, Del Piero. Samuel comes down with a counter-attack, and there is Van Nistelrooy just tipping it just over the ball, fast approaching half-time. Can any one of these sides get the goal? And there is Alessandro Del Piero, given the captain's armband for Tortuga Celtics, and looks over to his manager and blows him a little kiss and says, Greevsey, you're not a dinosaur just yet. Greevsey, there's your half-time stats. And Tato, there's yours. A real test of his fuck it and let's go something mad resolve here, by the way. Any one of you gonna kind of shit the bed first and make a move?
I love the fact that Ryan asked for everyone to be in order and Tato's gone fuck off and Carmona's playing as the last player and Mr. Roy's up top.
I told him that as well. Yeah, I'm going to change it, Doug, yeah.
Go on then.
I've got options here. Take Butt off, please, for Viduka.
Oh.
Yeah.
Push Vlahovic to AMC and Viduka as part of a 2 up front. Arrow on Vlahovic, please, for Manny Central.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Thank you. Yep.
Greevsey.
Keep as is.
Excellent. Let's see if Badgers can get back into this game before half-time. Gustavo Lopez and Van Nistelrooy. Gustavo Lopez was massively sought over by a couple of teams, and then they just kind of fell by the wayside, and Tato went after him. Celtics with a lot of the ball, but not much happening. And just before 60, we change Badgers.
Lopez for Rayad, please. Lopez for Rayad, and Lopez off for Rayad, and extend the wingers arrows, please, all the way up.
Oh,
and that'll do.
Cancel that. Sorry, mate. All the way up.
Yeah. Thank you.
PRG.
Can I have Fiore for Davids and swap with Albertini, please?
Fiore for Davids and swap with Albertini. Arrow still on, mate?
Yeah, please, mate.
And here we go until the final whistle. Danielson gets past Aymar again. Another big save from Iker Casillas. A lot of green and pink here for the Pirate Shaggers. Free kick, Gattuso, Fiore, Tamati. Another big tackle and another big save from Casillas. There is Everton, and let's slow this down, lads, because we want to make you squirm a little bit. Rayad to Viduka, and Taibbi makes a massive save. This is classic Greevsey, 1-0 with not a lot happening. Lucio, Del Piero, Kovacic. 3 minutes of added time. Can Badgers create one last opportunity for Ruud van Nistelrooy? Tamati, who was on a 10 at half time. Vlahovic, Samuel, Viduka offside. Tamati, and that is a yellow card for Tomati stopping Viduka. I think it was the other way, actually. Famani, Van Nistelrooy, Aymar, Viduka, and Viduka skies it, much to cheers from the away fans. Greevsey, what are you doing there, mate? Riziki, I'm guessing?
Riziki, please, mate.
Done well, I agree. Well played, mate. I thought it'd go like this, to be fair. Very strong.
And the substitution probably just winds the clock away.
Played,
and Celtics look the better side, or stemming from a stellar performance from Damiano Tomati, which looks an incredible thing there, to be honest. Del Piero.
Can we just check, was that a Del Piero free kick?
It was, mate, yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was direct. Let me just check. Struck the free kick through the wall. Questions on the defenders there.
Absolutely.
And there is Tato's side. But look, that, I think the nature of your testing, 9 on one side, 7 on the other, probably tells you that it could have went either way. But unfortunately it didn't. Unlucky Tato, well played Greevsey. And that leaves the league table looking a little bit...
we've got one more game. We've got the ghosty.
We've got one more. Excellent. Sorry, Dimble. Sorry, Swan. Predictions here, gents?
Bostock 1-0.
1-1.
Just catching up on
Macca. I don't think people understand testing, really, do they? I don't think people quite get it.
Go this way. Otherwise, you'd have been confident.
I don't think people quite understand what it is or how it works, which is sad for them, isn't it? But yeah. Anyway,
with he's not a man that has loose leaf tea all over the kitchen. That's definitely a missus. He's Mrs. who I'll not name on stream in case he's hunted down. He's definitely bought that with some of his money. And he's said it so much that he's put the comment twice. He's so wounded about the loose leaf tea going all over the kitchen that he's posted a comment twice.
I'm still upset that you actually changed. Get your missus back on.
The game off in hospital. And there is Vincenzo Montella, who scores early doors. And Swan looks as though he might just be amongst it this season based on his last 2 performances. Remember that Stanley made Coast look very, very, very ordinary in the Cup before getting beat by Dragons. And there is off the crossbar for Cosmos. Got to be taking those chances because of how clinical Montella is going to be at the other side. Fast approaching half-time. Ortega, Volodenkov into an Anelka, bears in goal, and that's a big save from Khan, who's been massive in the first couple of games. Gets us to half-time, and that was a decent little watch, I think. Haven't seen Swan in the chat, so I'll just pull up his stats there to have a look at in the morning. I know he's had a bit of a heavy week, and also he's on the beers. Dimble, there's your stats there, mate. We've got Petrov, who is struggling a little bit. Just let me know if you want to do anything there. From Forget That Island. How's Anelka after getting subbed? Yeah, Ian Anelka was absolutely fine after getting subbed. Such as the confidence that he's got in Dims. Swanee, if you're there, mate, if you're watching on mute, just let us know what you want to do. Dimble really isn't a man for wholesale changes, especially at half time. But Tato, anything you'd be doing particularly?
Yeah, I'd probably move Petrov alongside Kerr and centralise Vogel.
So with the 2 MCs, that's exactly what he's done. Did you see that before me?
Yeah.
Dimple, any preference on the left, right, which is kind of been
Petrov on the left, he's left-footed.
Which has been the discussion on Twitter with me and Macca this afternoon. I don't know if anyone caught that, but let me know if you've got a preference on left or right there, and anything else you want to do. And then we'll crack on. Lovely, excellent. Thank you very, very much. We go on to 60. Lots of red and then lots of green and white. This would be, if Cosmos end up getting back into this and winning this will be 2 games that they've been one behind, one with 9 men, one with 10 men. 9 men. And they would get there. We've went miles past 60 there. Apologies. Just pull up Swanee's stats for 60 minutes in case he's interested. Come the rewatch if he's not here.
Oh, Scally, man.
Vogel was class in season 9. And again, that Johan Vogel, number 5, as that lone DMC, is posing a few questions of Dimble. Brugging to the 6, been so good for so long, so consistent for so long. And it'll be interesting to see what Dimble does here. What would you be doing, Greevsey?
I'd get Henrik on. I'm a big fan of Henrik Larsson at AMC.
Yeah.
Very big fan.
Two differences of opinion there. We've got Martin, who does not rate Vogel, and then we've got Horse, who absolutely loves him. And then Martin coming back with one good season doesn't doesn't make him good. Jens there straight in.
Ian,
Will there be another show?
Ian at Haggis wouldn't agree with that statement, would he?
Yeah, probably wouldn't. Probably wouldn't, to be honest, mate. Dimble, just let us know what you want to do there, lad.
He's gone to 2 up top. Larson for Brugink, 2 up top. Henry and Anelka. Larson at AMC. Push Henry.
Any arrow?
Henry, the actual...
Yeah, arrow on.
Yes. My bit is now, everyone's saying that Henry is amazing at AMC. What has he done?
And there is the second goal for Bostock Swanley, who for so long, Bostock have looked as though they have a side that can genuinely compete. And now they probably, with the greatest respect to Scott, have a manager that can absolutely dedicate a lot of time to it. This is Bostock Swanley's game to see out. Cosmos don't really look as though they've been able to lay a glove on them second half, even despite that 2 up top. And that is a great win. It's a fantastic win for Swan. And a very Cosmos-like performance from Swan there. Robbie Keane with a 10. Tato, any thoughts?
Yeah, you take the arrow off Scally there and you're getting him playing a lot better as well. That team's class. If he sticks with that formation, that team, then they'll be top 6.
Got Vincenzo Montella, one of the best lone strikers on the game, and he got 2 good AMC. Well, he's got multiple AMCs that are proven in the league to play behind him.
Yeah. And bear in mind, Carlos Jacques isn't getting a sniff there, mind. Jacques isn't getting a sniff at the minute for them, not even being named on the bench. Johan Vogel, who's been a big player for Dimble historically, not able to turn it around no matter what Dimble did.
Did he not start Jacques in that game?
Yeah, Jack started.
He started in that game, you gimp.
Oh, apologies. Sorry. He didn't start the first game.
He didn't do anything. He didn't kick the ball.
Yeah.
I'm sure he came on. He came on in the first game at half time, I think.
And that brings us to the conclusion of tonight's results. So let's just recap the classifieds. Asta beat Haggis 1-0 with a performance that was worthy of the 3 points, with Mendes being sent off. Badgers unfortunately were beaten by Celtics 1-0 with a very, very Greevsey. Bostock Stanley beat Cosmos comfortably in what was almost a Cosmos-like performance. Fulchester United make it 2 out of 2, only the second team to do so, I think so at the minute, against the White Rose side that stuttered and struggled to score. Casuals beat Gazelles 1-0 again, with another red card being a really deciding factor, although Casuals did very little otherwise. For me, performance of the night, Northern Burn and Maxim Sigalko put Dragons firmly in their place and assert their dominance as league favourites to go only the second side that are 2 out of 2. And last but by no means least, a dominant Vikings were sucker punched by an Emerson Worldie in the 81st minute, which means that the league table looks like this. Northern Burn are top, joined by Fulchester Phoenix, only slightly ahead by a +1 on the goal difference. The only 2 sides yet to drop any points at all, which is ominous for the rest of us. Bostock Swanley still remain unbeaten after 2 tough games against a previous former champion and a previous semi-finalist. Walton Casuals Hodgie is back in the mix firmly with a defeat and a win tonight against Gazelles. Gazelles, last season's overperformers, are in at 5th with 3 points, and Celtics, there might be life in the old dinosaur yet with him. Greevsey trotting out very much a classic Greevsey performance.
Can we have a look at the average ratings in a bit to see Juan Gomez?
I mean, Greevsey, we fucking can if we just don't interrupt my John Motson tribute for the classifieds, please, mate, when we get down to fucking 6th position.
He's not going to shag you, mate. He's dead.
Yeah, move the camera now, Doug. Doug, can you switch the cameras to the side now so we can see the table better?
Yeah, sorry, that's a really good shout, actually. There we go. Fantastic. Badgers have a win, that first win, ever so important. as do Asta, and as do Cosmos. But the 4-5 sides at the bottom, Dragons bottom of the league. Where have we seen that before? How did last season go? PPP are ahead on having the best of the worst goal difference, really. Vikings on a point, White Rose on a point, although yet to score a goal, and Haggis yet to score a goal as well. And Dragons, by the nature of that defeat by Northern Burn and Maxim Sigalko, bring up the bottom of the league. Fixtures for Sunday night, which will go ahead as planned, and packs will be out straight after. We have Badgers against the rampant Bostock, Cosmos against Fulchester Phoenix, Haggis against Gazelles, which we know is a fixture that has a lot of needle in it. Now and probably forevermore, to be honest. We have Vikings against Dragons in the Pokemon Derby, always an interesting watch for all the Bulbasaur fans. We've got Celtics against PPP in the Sex Offender Derby. We've got Casuals against Northern Burn in the Goat Derby, and then we have White Rose and Asta Athletics in the, I don't know, what derby would that be? The Sound.
Both Yorkshire. Both Yorkshire, aren't they?
The Yorkshire Derby, the sound person, the less likely to have sex with your missus when you're out the room Derby, do you reckon? I think Savage and Steve wouldn't do that here, would they? And that brings up Sunday night's fixtures. Anybody who is in the chat with a bit of a beer and maybe wants to jump on while I'm doing packs, you're absolutely more than welcome, although I appreciate it's 20 past 11 and touching a little bit on the late side. Tato, Greevsey, thank you very much for showing us how co-coms are done. I think that was a very solid performance from you two. Any kind of parting thoughts from you?
No, early doors all round, I think, looking fairly even apart from Sigalko. The rest of everybody else, yeah, enjoying it. Keep up the speed of it as well. I'm really enjoying the new, it feels like almost like a lease of life. Not that it was dead at all, Fifey, of course, no offence, but the sort of the momentum that it's gathering is really, really good.
Yeah, good. I appreciate that, mate, because, you know, the four of us, the four people that are streaming have really tried to kind of, you know, talk long and hard about what we need to lose and what we need to add in. And I think, you know, it's therapy for all of us, but we don't want it being kind of like laboured therapy for all of us. So we want to try and really keep that momentum going. Greevesy, anything from you, my man?
No, it's all going fantastic so far. Getting the love back in, getting that Super League kick. And
good,
yeah,
good. It is like heroin.
Just need
it's
the
great,
announcement for
a
extra transfers. That's all we're looking for now.
What is that? You want more transfers?
Always.
Always.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
I was led on. I was bribed for my vote by unlimited transfers, then we're limited by 11. What are you on about?
Okay, right. So I'm going to end the stream there, lads. Thank you very much for joining us on your Friday night. I'll send you the StreamYard link if anybody wants to jump on while I'm doing packs. You absolutely can. Tato, Greevesy, thanks so much for your time, and we'll see you all Sunday.
Night, lads.